the Zagros Mountains of Iran, where the landscape is vast and empty, where civilization feels impossibly distant, families are waking before sunrise. They have no supermarkets, no refrigerators, no way to contact the outside world. For weeks, sometimes months, they will travel through mountains and valleys with nothing but what they carry on the backs of animals. Yet this family will not go hungry. They will eat well. They will share meals. They will celebrate. They will survive. How do they do this? How does a family feed itself for weeks, months, on foods that require no refrigeration, no modern preservation? The answer lies in knowledge that's been refined over thousands of years. Knowledge passed from grandmother to granddaughter, from father to son, preserved as carefully as the foods themselves. The nomads of Iran, the Bakhtiari, Qashqai, and Shah Savan tribes have lived in these mountains for thousands of years. Twice each year, they migrate. In spring, moving upward to high alpine pastures where grass is green and water flows. In autumn, descending to warmer valleys to escape winter's deadly cold.
This is not by choice, but by necessity. The mountains are too harsh for permanent settlements. Water, grazing land, and survival itself depend on following the seasons, following the flocks, following routes that have been walked for millennia. Imagine traveling for weeks with everything you own on pack animals. Imagine never knowing when you'll reach the next water source. Imagine cold nights in mountain passes where temperatures plummet below freezing. Imagine the responsibility of feeding children in an environment where there is no food to simply buy or pick from nearby trees. This is where the wisdom of food preservation becomes not just practical, but sacred. Every technique, every food, every preservation method represents generations of accumulated knowledge about survival in one of the world's most challenging environments. The foods nomads prepare are not restaurant cuisine. They're not meant to delight the palate with exotic flavors. They're designed for one purpose: to sustain life during migrations, to provide complete nutrition, to last for months without spoiling, to be light enough to transport, and to maintain the strength and health of families in an unforgiving landscape.
Kashk is perhaps the most important food in a nomadic family's diet. It's dried yogurt. What happens when yogurt loses all its moisture and becomes something that can last for a year or more without any form of refrigeration? Fresh yogurt from morning milking is spread thin on clean cloth, then placed in direct sunlight. For days, nothing visible seems to happen, but slowly, imperceptibly, moisture evaporates. The yogurt, once liquid and soft, becomes something harder, more solid. By the 5th or 6th day, the yogurt has transformed into something almost leather-like. It's broken into pieces, small enough to hold in a closed fist, yet dense with nutrition. A liter of fresh yogurt becomes about 100 grams of kashk. The concentration is extraordinary. All the nutrients, the protein, the fat, the probiotics, are preserved and intensified. The moisture that would allow bacteria to grow is gone.
When needed during travel, kashk is rehydrated with water. In moments, it becomes something almost like fresh yogurt again. It can be mixed with herbs, combined with grains, or eaten with bread. It provides calories, protein, and the beneficial bacteria that help the nomadic body digest simpler foods. A single family might produce 50 kilograms of kashk during the spring milking season. That's the equivalent of over 500 liters of yogurt
reduced to something that fits in bags no larger than a person's torso. If kashk is the nomad's liquid food, then cheese is their solid one. But nomadic cheese is not the cheese you know from stores. It's simpler, more ancient, more suited to life in mountains and migration. The process begins with the addition of rennet, an enzyme that causes milk to separate into solids and liquid. This process is so ancient that nomads often use rennet they've made themselves from the dried stomach lining of young animals, knowledge that predates modern science by thousands of years.
The curds are gathered in cloth, and the whey, the liquid, drains away. What remains is pressed into forms, wrapped in cloth, and set aside to age. The process takes days or weeks, depending on the type of cheese being made. Some cheeses are stored in cold water, a spring or mountain stream, where they'll remain until needed. The cold water preserves them, while slowly aging develops flavor. Other cheeses are salt-cured, coated until they're encased in white crystals. Salt is precious. It must be carried or obtained through trade, but it's worth every bit because it transforms fresh cheese into something that can last for months. During travel, cheese becomes breakfast, lunch, dinner. It's combined with bread, eaten alone, shared with visitors who might appear at the camp. It provides the fat and protein necessary for survival in cold mountains where the body burns calories constantly, just staying warm. This knowledge of cheese making, knowing which milk makes the best cheese, when to add salt, when to trust time to do its work, is something each nomadic woman learns from her mother and eventually teaches her own daughter. In a landscape with sparse vegetation and cold that kills the unprepared, calories are everything. And the most efficient source of calories is fat. Clarified butter, ghee, is liquid life for a nomadic family. Butter begins with the churning of yogurt in a leather bag, a process so ancient that the movement, forward, back, feels like a dance that connects modern nomads to their ancestors thousands of years in the past. The fresh butter is then melted slowly over a fire. As it melts, the water content evaporates and the milk solids separate, falling to the bottom. The pure fat, ghee, rises to the top. Ghee is butter with all the water removed. That makes it stable for months, even in summer heat, even during travel, even without any form of cooling. It won't separate, won't go rancid, won't spoil. A nomadic family might produce 50 liters of ghee during the spring and summer milking season. That ghee will sustain them through cold months when the animals produce little or no milk. Ghee isn't just calories, it's flavor. It's what makes simple bread taste like celebration. It's what makes rice nourishing instead of just filling. It's the foundation of nomadic cooking. Nomads know ghee that's been in storage for a year smells different than fresh ghee. They know which animals produce the richest ghee. They know how to keep it in conditions where it's safe to consume months or years after production. Bread is the foundation of a nomadic diet. Not the fluffy bread you might buy from a bakery, but something denser, more substantial, capable of lasting days without spoiling. Sangak is baked on hot stones, the dough slapped directly onto heat, creating a crust within moments. It's eaten fresh or stored for days. Lavash is thin and flexible, perfect for wrapping around cheese or meat. Barberry is dense and chewy, made with barely any water, designed to last for weeks. The magic of nomadic bread is in its density and its low moisture content. Unlike soft, fluffy bread that spoils quickly, nomadic bread has just enough water to be edible, but not enough to allow rapid microbial growth.
During travel, bread can last for 2 weeks or more without spoiling if kept dry. It becomes harder, yes, but it's still edible, still nourishing, still capable of sustaining life. Bread is also the vehicle for other foods. It's wrapped around cheese. It's used to scoop up kashk. It's the foundation for meals combining ghee, herbs, and salt. Bread is democratic. It works with everything else a nomadic family eats. Making bread is taught the same way every other nomadic skill is taught, through doing. A child, perhaps 6 or 7 years old, learns to make bread by making bread, guided by a parent's hands and voice, developing an intuition that will serve her for 60 years.
The mountains provide gifts, fruits and nuts that ripen for a few weeks each year, appearing almost magically in an otherwise sparse landscape. An apricot that weighs 100 grams fresh becomes perhaps 15 grams dried. All the water is gone, but all the nutrition remains. The sugars become more concentrated, the nutrients become denser. Dried fruits provide something crucial to nomadic diet: carbohydrates and sugars for energy, and sweetness for morale. In a diet of bread, cheese, and meat, a handful of dried apricots becomes something to anticipate, something that reminds children of summer and abundance. Walnuts and almonds are gathered in autumn. The hard shells protect the nuts inside, preserving them through the entire year. A nomadic family might gather 50 kilograms of nuts, eaten slowly through winter, providing essential fats and proteins. These dried foods serve another purpose: their currency. Nomadic families trade dried fruits and nuts at market towns, acquiring things they cannot produce themselves: salt, tea, cloth, tools.
Grains are the ultimate preserved food. They can last for years, even decades, if stored properly. A nomadic family might purchase flour or whole grains at a market, storing them in the tent throughout the year. Flour made from wheat or barley doesn't spoil the way fresh foods do. It can last months or even years. Bugs might infest it, so nomads learn to store flour in ways that prevent infestation, sealed tightly, kept cool and dry. Nomads know that certain dried herbs repel weevils and other insects. Bay leaves are particularly effective. By layering these throughout stored flour, they prevent infestations without using any chemical pesticides. Rice is perhaps more stable than flour. It's less prone to spoilage and lasts longer. A nomadic family buying rice at market knows it will sustain them through many months of travel. The mountains provide remedies as well as food. Nomadic families know plants, dried herbs, that preserve food, that heal sickness, that prevent disease. Dried herbs flavor food, but they're also medicine. Mint aids digestion. Thyme is an antimicrobial. Sage is used for sore throats. Turmeric, brought in trade and stored carefully, is used for inflammation and wound healing.
This knowledge of herbs and their properties is passed from generation to generation. A nomadic woman might carry in her mind the properties and uses of 30 or 40 plants, information learned in childhood and refined through a lifetime of use. Food preservation knowledge is not learned from books. It's learned from observation, from participation, from watching hands and listening to voices of people who care about you. Every nomadic girl learns to make kashk before she's 12. She learns to make cheese, to cure it, to judge its readiness to eat. She learns the properties of herbs. She learns to judge bread by feel, not measurement. She learns to store foods in ways that protect them from insects and moisture. Every nomadic boy learns to herd animals responsibly,
He learns that the animals must be healthy for the milk to be rich. He learns to understand the landscape, where water is reliable, where grass grows, where it's safe to camp. Food preservation is also about hospitality. When travelers arrive at a nomadic camp, food is offered. Bread, cheese, tea brewed with herbs. This hospitality is not charity, it's an obligation of culture. It's how survival is ensured in mountains. If you help a stranger today, you might need help from a stranger tomorrow.
This reciprocal obligation has allowed nomadic peoples to survive for thousands of years in an environment that would kill isolated families quickly. Together, through sharing knowledge and resources, through teaching and learning from each other, they persist. When you're born into a nomadic family, you don't learn about food preservation as a special skill. You learn it as naturally as you learn to speak. It's simply part of being alive, of growing up, of becoming an adult capable of caring for your own family. So how do Iranian nomads feed their families for weeks, months, traveling through mountains without refrigeration or supermarkets? They do it through knowledge, through foods designed by millennia of refinement to be stable, nourishing, and delicious. Through techniques so integrated into their culture, they barely feel like techniques at all. They're just how food is prepared, how life is lived. Kashk provides protein and probiotics. Cheese provides fats and calcium. Ghee provides calories and flavor. Bread provides carbohydrates and substance. Dried fruits provide energy and vitamins. Nuts provide nutrition that lasts throughout the year. Herbs provide medicine and hope. These foods are not separate from culture. They're woven into the fabric of what it means to be Bakhtiari, Qashqai, or Shahsavan. They're what allows children to grow healthy in mountains that could easily kill them. They're what allows elderly people to continue traveling long after they might have been given up for lost in less resilient cultures. Modern people might look at these foods and see deprivation, limited variety, simple flavors, ancient techniques. But that's a misreading. What we see is resilience. What we see is sufficiency. What we see is a people who have solved the problem that haunts modern supply chains: how to reliably eat well without depending on electricity, without depending on global trade, without depending on systems that can fail. Could your family survive for weeks using only foods and knowledge these nomads rely on? Could you make kashk from yogurt? Could you cure cheese? Could you clarify ghee? Could you know which herbs heal and which might harm? Probably not immediately, but the knowledge is available. It's not secret or complicated. It's just been set aside, considered unnecessary, abandoned in favor of convenience. The nomads of Iran remind us that it's not actually unnecessary, that it remains relevant, that in a changing world, these old skills might become valuable again. If this journey into the lives and foods of Iranian nomads has interested you, taught you something new, or simply given you a moment to reflect on different ways of living, please like this video and subscribe for more stories about traditional wisdom, forgotten knowledge, and cultures that persist in remote parts of our world.